because they know how to manipulate people, and the unfortunate thing is people fall into this manipulation because they promise a lot of good things like 30% return on investment monthly. That's crazy. I mean, bruh. What is up, wealthy people? So today's video is going to be interesting and a little bit controversial because finally I'm making a video about how you guys could avoid scams in your lifetime. So if you're someone who has been scammed before, this video is for you because I will tell you 7 tips that you could do so that you'll never be scammed again in your lifetime. And if you're someone who's just looking for some things that you could do for your due diligence, add up to your due diligence so that you can really determine if the business that you're interested on investing is a legitimate business. So this video is also for you. So just stay tuned. By the way, if you're new here, hi, my name is Kaz and I make videos about how to make, save, and invest money for Filipinos that are entirely applicable in the Philippines. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below somewhere around here and make sure to leave a like in this video because it helps me and my channel grow and thus allowing me to reach more Filipinos like you or a person that is of interest in Philippine business so that I can help you go through some of the practical tips that you have to know going into the business or just involving money matters. So anyway, without delaying you further, let's now go to the first item on our list, and that is if it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't. So these scams are advertised like this most of the time. So let's say they'll ask you 20 to 50,000 and they'll just tell you that if you invest 20 to 50,000 or just invest 10,000 even, I'll give you 30% return of investment every month. Just imagine 30% every month. How is it even possible if it's, I mean, there are a lot of businesses, legitimate businesses or money channels that you could do that. But then it's not guaranteed because like for instance in the stock market, if you are a trader and if you are a seasoned trader, you could do that. But then most of the time, legitimate businesses won't even offer you that high of a return on investment guaranteed every month because there are a lot of costs that entails those operations for you. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know. I mean, just remember that if it's too good to be true, then you know that it is not really a legitimate business and it is most likely a scam. So just run. It's a scam. Okay? Number 2 is that they're offering you high return on investments, number 1, and they have no verified business enterprise. If you ask them, oh, so you're asking me 20,000 or 50,000, what's your business? So they can answer you immediately, they can give you a straight answer and just give you or like deviate you from a lot of interesting offers that you know are superficial and hopefully you know that are superficial or just give you indirect answers or probably short term for a lie. So just make sure that before you invest or put your hard-earned money on somewhere, anywhere, probably whether it's local or international businesses or any person that you want to entrust your hard-earned money, just make sure that they have a legitimate business enterprise because otherwise it is a scam for me. Anyway, number 3, don't laugh at me because I always keep a list of the things that I will do so that I will not have an incoherent information relay to you guys. I mean, sharing of information rather. So number 3 is probably this is one of those things that really ticks me off because this is where they convince most people, and that is they have an SEC registration. Now, most of the time, scams in general don't have SEC registration, meaning they are not registered in the Security Exchange Commission, so that they will be recognized as a business who has a different personality, a legal personality that is recognized by law. But then these scammers are now getting smarter, you guys. So the scammers are getting smarter and they're now deciding to register in the SEC. Now, under the law, every person has the chance to register, except those minors, of course, and incapacitated persons, to register in the SEC. So, if you're registered in the SEC, your business does not stop there. Before your business can operate, there are a lot of regulations that the government is imposed depending on the industry that you're involved or interested in venturing in. So, there is this term, authority to operate. Now, these scammers, makalagot dyan kayo. Because these scammers know that they're somewhat legitimate because they always advertise, oh, we're already SEC registered, so we're recognized by the government to exist. Yes, that's correct. But the next question you ask is that, do you have the authority to operate in that business despite you being recognized as a government, despite you being recognized by the government to exist legally by fiction of law? That's the question that you ask. Because if they don't have this authority to operate, among other papers or permits that they should have for them to operate in a particular industry or business, then that's still a scam. Because again, securities and investments should only be collected by those persons who are not only registered in the SEC for them to operate, but also they have to be granted with a lot of authority to operate certificates in that particular industry. So if they don't have this authority to operate, then, and they're collecting collecting to the public investments, then that is a scam technically. So the next time that you guys are going to be confronted by someone who is telling na, or, oh, we're legit because we're SEC registered. I mean, guys, you know already what to do. I've already shared that also on top of the SEC registration, you have to make sure that they're granted this authority to operate in that particular industry. Otherwise, it is still a scam for me. So, let's now get to number 4 on our list, and that is the business is run by shady personalities. Now, it's common sense that if this person has already a record of scamming a lot of people, is already blacklisted, and his business is already advised by the SEC to be collecting unauthorized investments from the public, then it probably is a scam. I mean, there are a lot of exceptions, but the general rule is, again, you have to go back to the requirements that the government set, because these persons are already reported previously that they started a scam or some unauthorized collection of investments, then that's still a scam for me. Watch out for those shady personalities because most of them are evil geniuses. They know how to manipulate a lot of people, and for those who fall prey for their businesses or scam, I don't want to call it a business rather, because they know how to manipulate people, and the unfortunate thing is people fall into this manipulation because they promise a lot of good things like 30% return on investment monthly. That's crazy. I mean, if you're someone who's just starting your investment journey or your financial freedom journey, and you'll be presented with that opportunity, and you don't have anything of background of some sort about in legal or some business perspective, you will fall for it. And I don't blame you. Just don't blame yourself. Just remember, wealthy people, that on average, the average return on investment is just placed around 5 to 7%. That's already a good return for the money that you've invested. If the market is good, it will play along the lines of 7 to 12%. Now, that's the maximum that you could do, especially if you're just investing in some conservative investment vehicles like dividends, or for instance some mutual funds that you're already involved. But then 30% monthly, that's crazy. Ever heard of a famous business person who offered 30% return on investment monthly? That's crazy, which leads me to the next item on our list, and that is these scammers fail to really give out legitimate and audited financial statements on how their business is doing. If you try to ask them, how have you been doing in the last 5 years? Except for startups, because probably if a startup, it's just been operating for a year, 3 years, it's not operating over 5 years. But generally, if you ask this person, how have you been doing the last 5 years? This person cannot give you a concrete and objective data on how his business is doing. Instead, he's just going to deviate from giving you indirect answers, short term of a lie. So again, if you're looking into investing in some good businesses, legitimate businesses, there are always information that is available to you, especially if those corporations are public. They're always available to you. Just head over to PSE Edge, and there are a lot of disclosures that are available in the public anytime. You can access it anytime. So if this person if this person really cannot give you a direct answer and probably goes on shady mode, then that is still a scam. So run, Barbie, run. I don't know why I keep singing that song. It's just registering while making this video. So that's still a scam and you should run. Number 6 on our list is that this is also some things that really ticks me off, because ever notice those people who are always showing piles of money to the public, taking pictures of piles of money, telling na, oh, this is my profit over to the transaction, yada yada yada. Don't fall for those things. Because ever heard of Henry C. showing off his billions of pesos and dollars accounts on some social medias that his business is already worth like this? No. Most billionaires or even millionaires are always humble, and they just make sure that their business is working well, they're generating enough return of investment to fuel another year of business venture, and also to give out to those investors that invested in their business. They're not always in the habit of showing off money. I'm sorry if my tone is getting on these levels of shouting, but I'm always triggered, and I'm at the same time hurting if people fall for these things. And you know what's unfortunate about it? Those poorest of the poor who have just a little bit of life savings invest on those things because they think, oh, if someone has a lot of money in a picture, maybe I could do that. Don't fall for those kinds of things, because those are just ploys for you to be what's that in Bisaya? It's para mahilo lang ka ba? If those are just ploys to convince you that the business enterprise exists and works, where in fact, if you're a legitimate businesses, those growth will be reflected in the balance sheets and the financial statements, which are not. They're oftenly boasted around social media that yada yada yada, this are the profits that I've earned, and I've earned this over the course of a week. That's crazy. I've been an investor for quite a long time, and if you're just investing on some legitimate businesses, they will never ever do that, because there are legitimate ways of showing legitimate data of how the business is doing. And social media is not one of those through showing off money, because the next time that you're going to be shown with those a lot of money that are posted online, don't fall for those things, because it's still a scam. So just remember number 6, because this is usually rampant on social media. Number 7 on our list is that it reaches a manic phase, and usually this is advertised by clickbaits. So let's say, for example, they're going to tell you, invest in the stock market with just 1,000 and you will be part owner of a blue chips company. But then when you try and indulge, give your time to those groups, because they'll invite you, you'll be eventually be signing up. You'll eventually realize that you'll just be signing up for a seminar that will cost you money to be a member, because before you hear some things. But ultimately, there are still a lot of legitimate ways to do that. But then don't clickbait people. If you were to ask me, if your business is legitimate, you should just get on with it and tell the person how you could give a potential return on investment. Not clickbait people, because that's number 1, that's an ethical advertisement, and number 2, that's indirectly change, because it's sunny now. But alright, anyway, going back. So number 2 is that's grounds for unauthorized collection of investments, which equates to jail time if you're convicted. So just make sure that you're vigilant about your money and do your personal due diligence for these kinds of investments, because most often than not, if these persons succeeds on getting money from you, they will start to become bubbles, which pops the moment they're blown away by the blower. I don't know. I hope, wealthy people, you've learned a lot of things with the 7 tips that I've shared, and I just want to do a quick recap on those things. And today we discussed, and I shared to you the 7 tips that I think you guys should know so that you can avoid scams in your lifetime. And number 1 is that if it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't. Then number 2 is that the scammer does not have a verified business enterprise. Number 3 is that they don't have an authority to operate despite having an SEC registration. Number 4 is that it is run by shady personalities. Number 5 is that they cannot give you a consistent and audited income statements regarding of how their business is doing. Number 6 is that the business or the scam always shows money as proof that the business works through those pictures of piles of money that I'm not sure if that's even theirs to begin with. Number 7, finally, it reaches a manic phase, and they're oftenly advertised as a clickbait. Manic phase meaning that even the person who does not invest in that particular industry already knows it, because again, it's already been popularized by scammers. So I hope this video has been insightful for you. Please leave a like if you've resonated and agreed with the tips that I've shared, and make sure that you're already subscribed so you wouldn't miss any of my videos. And as always, just remember that you can be wealthy too. See you in the next one.